A very good afternoon. You're watching Midday News. My name is Aditi Nagpal Girotra. Let's get the bulletin rolling with the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to address 74th UN General Assembly session today. Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan's speech to follow PM Modi. In bilateral engagements, Prime Minister Modi discusses Chabahar port with Iranian President. Terrorism is a deliberate obstacle being created in South Asia. Elimination a precondition for survival, says Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar at SAARC meet. Filing of nominations for 288 seats in Maharashtra, 90 seats in Haryana to begin today. Results for assembly by polls to Dantewada in Chhattisgarh, Kerala's Pala, Tripura's Badarghat and UP's Hamirpur seats today. Tourism engine of economic growth creates employment, says Vice President on World Tourism Day. Asserts tourists get red carpet welcome in India now instead of the earlier red tape. Andhra Pradesh named Best State, Goa and Kerala at second and third spots in National Tourism Awards. Chandrayaan 2 lander Vikram had a hard landing, says NASA. Releases high-resolution images of moon's uncharted South Pole, where the Chandrayaan 2 lander attempted soft landing. Vikram's precise location yet to be determined. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to address the 74th session of the United Nations General Assembly today. Prime Minister Modi's address will focus on major challenges facing the world today, including terrorism and climate change, among others. This will be Prime Minister Modi's first address in his second term as the Prime Minister. The current session of the UNGA began on 24th September and will conclude on 30th September. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Iranian President Hassan Rouhani held bilateral talks on the sidelines of the high-level segment of the 74th United Nations General Assembly in New York on Thursday. Both leaders discussed bilateral relations and exchanged views on regional and global developments of mutual interest. According to an official press release, the Prime Minister reiterated India's support for giving priority to diplomacy, dialogue and confidence building in the interest of maintaining peace, security and stability in the Gulf region. The two leaders also assessed the progress in bilateral relations since their first meeting in 2015. They especially mentioned overcapitalization of Chabahar port and noted its importance as gateway to and for the landlocked Afghanistan and the Central Asian region. During the meeting, it was agreed to mark the 70th anniversary of establishment of diplomatic relations in 2020. Later, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also met Cyprus President Nikos Anastasiades. Both leaders shared their views on a wide range of issues aimed at boosting bilateral cooperation, including boosting commercial, cultural and technological linkages. Modi also held bilateral talks with Prime Minister of Greece on the sidelines of the session of UN General Assembly. BRICS nations strongly condemned terrorism in all its forms, calling for the need for an early adoption of a comprehensive convention on international terrorism. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar participated in the BRICS Foreign Ministers meeting on the sidelines of the UNGA session in New York. All foreign ministers of BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa urged the need for concerted efforts to counter terrorism in accordance with the international law and under UN auspices. The ministers also exchanged views on major global and regional issues on the UN agenda in the political, security, economic, financial and sustainable development spheres. The ministers reiterated their commitment to transparent, non-discriminatory, open, free and inclusive international trade. They also reaffirmed the need for a comprehensive reform of the UN, including its Security Council, with a view to making it more representative, effective and efficient. They also called for increasing the representation of the developing countries so that it can adequately respond to global challenges. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar participated in the meeting of SAARC Council of Foreign Ministers in New York on Thursday. Jaishankar said elimination of terrorism in all its forms is a precondition not only for fruitful cooperation but also for the very survival of the South Asian region. S. Jaishankar also listed steps taken by India for development of the South Asian region. He said that the example of South Asian satellite shows how India has been taking up the initiatives that bear prosperity to the neighborhood. South Asian Satellite was launched in 2017 with an intention to arrive at scientific solutions to address poverty in the SAARC region. He added that the South Asian University is also an example of India building academic excellence that will have a generational impact. Pakistan Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi on Thursday boycotted S. Jaishankar's opening statement at the meeting. Qureshi arrived only after Jaishankar left the room after delivering his statement. India and the other G4 nations voiced concern over the lack of any concrete result on UN Security Council reform. The grouping that includes Brazil, Germany and Japan, along with India, said that the current intergovernmental negotiation process does not have the necessary openness and transparency. The ministers reiterated their strong commitment to an early and comprehensive reform of the Security Council as envisaged by heads of state and government in the 2005 World Summit. They also emphasized that an expansion of the Security Council in both categories is indispensable to make this body more representative, legitimate and effective. The Quad Foreign Affairs meet between the US, Japan, India and Australia was held on Thursday for the first time for a free and open Indo-Pacific. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, Japanese Foreign Minister Toshimitsu Motegi, US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and Australia's Foreign Affairs Minister discussed the Indo-Pacific strategy. In a tweet, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar thanked Quad foreign ministers for the meeting. US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said in a tweet that the Quad members shared interest in building a free and open Indo-Pacific region. He also said that denuclearization of North Korea and joint efforts to promote regional stability was also discussed in detail. Meanwhile, Australian Foreign Minister tweeted stating that all members reaffirmed their Quad commitment to shared values and cooperation. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar met with his counterparts and other leaders from a number of countries. He held talks with foreign ministers of Brazil and Maldives. He also met with his counterparts from Croatia, Sierra Leone, Japan, Singapore and Latvia. He also held discussion with European Union's Foreign Policy Chief Federica Mogherini. With this, we'll halt in for a quick break, but we'll be back soon. Stay tuned with us.
Million people have now given the thumbs up to Rajya Sabha television. RSTV's growth has been phenomenal, with the journey from 2 million to 3 million being completed in less than 6 months. That's over 6,200 new subscribers every day. Our online viewers are engaging with us more actively. Every day, thousands like, share and comment on our videos. So come and join this growing tribe of RSTV viewers and get ready for an exciting journey.
समय से भारत की सरकार ने नई पहल कर अलग जल मंत्रालय बनाया है और पानी बचाने की अपील माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने की है। हमें सबको साथ मिलकर गांधी जी के इस 150वीं वर्षगांठ पर प्रकृति को बचाने और जल संरक्षण के लिए मिलकर अभियान चलाना होगा ताकि हम जल संकट की चुनौतियों से निपट सके। राज्यसभा टीवी चेतना फैलाने की दृष्टि से, जागरूकता फैलाने की दृष्टि से उसकी बड़ी अहम भूमिका है। इस जल संरक्षण में भी अपने इस प्रयास से राज्यसभा टीवी एक बड़ा काम करेगा।
Art arisen from a multi-hued cultural canvas. Tradition and cultural fervor dating back centuries. And encircling them all, there's a magic that awes. Embrace your nation's brilliant human warmth. Watch Colors of India, Sundays at 9:30 p.m. on Rajya Sabha television.
On how many occasions motion of thanks was amended in Rajya Sabha? The motion of thanks on the President's address in Rajya Sabha has been amended thrice, in 1980, 1989 and on 12th March 2001.
Welcome back. You're still with us on Midday News. Let's continue with the news ahead. Filing of nominations for Maharashtra and Haryana Assembly elections begins today with the issuance of notification. The last date for filing of nomination is 4th of October. The scrutiny of the nomination papers will be held on 5th of October. 7th October is the last date for withdrawal of candidature. Polling for the 288 seats in Maharashtra and 90 seats in Haryana will be held on 21st October, while the counting will take place on 24th of October. Counting is underway in assembly seats of Kerala, Tripura, Uttar Pradesh and Chhattisgarh, where by-polls were held on 23rd September. LDF's Mani C. Kappan has won from Kerala's Pala seat. BJP's Mini Majumdar is leading from Badarghat. Vidhan Sabha constituency in Tripura, the Congress candidate was leading in the Dantewada assembly by poll. In Hamirpur assembly constituency, BJP candidate is leading currently. The Election Commission on Thursday announced by-polls for one Rajya Sabha seat each from the state of Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. The polling for the two seats will be held on 16th of October. By-polls to the two RS seats fell vacant following deaths of former Union Ministers Arun Jaitley and Ram Jethmalani. The notification for the by-election will be issued on 27 September, with the nomination set to begin from the same day. While Jaitley, BJP, represented Uttar Pradesh, Jethmalani, RJD, represented Bihar in the upper house. The Election Commission on Thursday told the Supreme Court that it would defer the upcoming by-polls to 15 assembly constituencies in Karnataka. The statement by EC came after the Apex Court said that it would decide on the batch of petitions filed by 17 disqualified MLAs of Karnataka. The 17 disqualified Karnataka MLAs are seeking interim relief to contest the by-polls for 15 assembly seats in the state. They have challenged the order of former Speaker K.R. Ramesh Kumar, disqualifying them from the House. The lawyers appearing for the disqualified MLAs, Congress leader Siddaramaiah and other respondents said they have no objection if the bypolls are deferred. The top court said it would continue with the hearing in the case on 22nd of October. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu today called for more responsible and sustainable tourism practices while addressing the gathering after inaugurating the World Tourism Day 2019 celebrations in New Delhi. Expressing his concern about the worsening problem of pollution, he asked service providers to make sustainability and conservation an integral part of their business plan. He also said that tourism plays an important role in contributing to the economy. Naidu expressed happiness at India being selected as a host country for celebration of World Tourism Day 2019 by the United Nations World Tourism Organization.
Is a major engine of economic growth and an important source of employment and foreign exchange earnings in many countries, including India. In this context, this theme is more appropriate as it acknowledges the capacity of tourism to create large-scale employment opportunities, an important role it plays in achieving growth with equity and substantiality. My dear sisters and brothers, tourism in India has tremendous potential, considering the country's rich cultural and historical heritage, varied ecology, terrains, and a place of natural beauty spread across the country. The Indian culture, Indian cuisine, and Indian cinema, they're all very, very attractive. Once you enjoy them, you feel like again coming and then having that enjoyment again.
Andhra Pradesh bagged the top honor at the National Tourism Awards 2017-18, which were presented by Vice President Venkaiah Naidu. A total of 76 awards were given under various categories this year. Andhra Pradesh bagged the Best State Award for overall growth in tourism category. Goa and Madhya Pradesh were the joint winners in the adventure tourism category. Uttarakhand won the award for the Best Film Promotion Friendly State, while Telangana won the award for the Best State for the innovative use of IT. Venkaiah Naidu said that doing business in India has become easier and more tourists are visiting the country.
The entire world is looking towards India now. They are very much impressed by Indian culture, Indian heritage, India's love for peace, progress, and also India's value systems, and latest being India's economic growth. So the world is focusing its attention on India, and you are seeing how much interest the different countries are showing in India. It's very apt that the United Nations Travel Organization has chosen India as the destination for this year's conference. In travel, tradition starts with the pre-Vedic Indus Valley civilization, which witnessed visits of people of different centers of human settlement for the purpose of social integration, trade, and learning. All of you are aware, ours is 5,000 years of civilization. As such, tourism in India has a very old history.
हमारी सांस्कृतिक जो विरासत है वो एक है, हमारी धारणा में कोई परिवर्तन नहीं है। जो मैंने आपसे कहा उस आधार पर मैं सिर्फ इतना ही आपसे कहूँगा कि अभी भी इस कारण से इन पिछले 5 वर्षों में जो आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के जो पिछला 5 वर्ष थे और अब फिर से जो दूसरी पारी जो शुरू हुई है उसमें हम जहाँ दुनिया के मापदंडों में 65वें स्थान पर थे 2013 और 14 में, आज हम 34वें पायदान पर आए हैं। इन 5 वर्षों में जो बढ़त हुई है मैं इसका पूरा श्रेय आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी को इसलिए दूंगा जिस प्रकार से उन्होंने दुनिया में भ्रमण किया और यहाँ की सांस्कृतिक पहचान को उन्हें उद्धृत किया, उदाहरणों में प्रस्तुत किया। वो एक ब्रांड एम्बेसडर की तरह उन्होंने काम किया है।
Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu met with Secretary General of United Nations World Tourism Organization. The meeting with Zurab Pololik Ashwali from Georgia was held on the sidelines of World Tourism Day celebrations in New Delhi today. Vice President said that he was delighted to know that tourist inflow from India to Georgia doubled between 2016 to 2018. He also said that both the countries have extended e-visa schemes to each other, which would enhance people-to-people contact. The Vice President also met with Sofia Montiel de Afara, Minister of Tourism of Paraguay, on the sidelines of World Tourism Day celebrations and held discussions about India-Paraguay cooperation in the field of tourism. Vice President asked the Minister of Tourism to also look into an easing of visa regulations to facilitate the travel of citizens for tourism, business, trade and commerce and promote people-to-people contacts between the two countries. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman on Thursday held a meeting on credit disbursal and liquidity with banks and financial institutions. Addressing a press conference after the meeting with members of the banking sector and a few housing finance companies and non-banking finance companies, the Finance Minister said there are no reports of any liquidity crisis and she expected demand to rise during the festival season.
Particularly for the small finance banks. It seemed as though they are going on a smooth path. They've not had a friction or a blip in the last 1 year. So the issue is, if more money reaches the rural pockets, there's more demand and they can service. So liquidity, I repeat, I didn't hear from anyone telling me there is a crisis or there's a shortage of liquidity.
In 400 districts, there would be an outreach program. The outreach program is essentially to just go to the districts and convey that banks have sufficient liquidity, so as the NBFCs, and therefore it's an outreach for prudential lending to those who want to take loan.
The Central Board of Direct Taxes has extended the deadline for filing of income tax returns for special cases requiring audit reports. The deadline has been extended by a month. The new deadline is October 31st. In a late-night statement on Thursday, the CBDT said that the due date has been extended on consideration of representations received from across the country in respect of persons whose accounts are required to be audited. This category of ITR is to be filed by those entities that are assessed under Section 44AB of the IT Act, such as companies, partnership firms, proprietorship, among others, and their accounts are to be audited before filing. Certain categories of individuals, like a working partner in a firm, also fall under this clause. NASA said that the Chandrayaan-2 lander Vikram had a hard landing when it lost contact with ISRO's ground station during a historic attempt to soft land on the lunar surface. NASA added that a team of scientists at the U.S. Space Agency has not been able to locate it. The U.S. Space Agency released high-resolution images of the targeted landing site. The pictures were captured by NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter spacecraft during its flyby on 17 September. NASA said that the Moon Orbiter will try to locate and image the lander again in October when lighting will be favorable. Vikram was scheduled to touch down on 7th September. This was India's first attempt to soft land on the moon and could have propelled it into a select club of countries to have landed on the lunar surface. On to some sports news now. The second Women's 2020 International between India and South Africa was washed out on Thursday without a ball being bowled. Persistent rain meant even the toss could not take place. After inspecting the conditions of the field, the umpires decided to call off the game. India is leading the 5-match series with 1-0. The third T20 will be played in Surat on 29th of September. Mandeep Singh and Akashdeep Singh scored in the second half to give India a win over Belgium in the opening game of the 3-match series between the teams in Antwerp, Belgium on Thursday. Mandeep and Akashdeep sounded the board in the 39th and 54th minute to seal the match in India's favour. The second game of the series will be played on Saturday. And with this, it's a wrap on this edition of Midday News. Thank you so much for joining us.